Hey everyone, Pharmacist Ben here. How you doing? I want to talk today a little bit about a skin disease that affects millions of Americans. It's called eczema, also known as contact dermatitis. And therein lies the clue to understanding what eczema is all about. Eczema is a dermatitis. That means it's a rash or an inflammatory condition on the skin. Dermatitis, inflammatory condition on the skin, dermatitis. Here's the deal. Inflammation always means defense. This is so important because we deal with a epidemic, a chronic disease crisis that could be said to be an inflammation crisis. Inflammation is endemic. It's especially problematic on the skin, and eczema is an inflammatory condition. Inflammation is a defensive response. It's the way the immune system, body's defense system, shows up. So eczema and pretty much all chronic health conditions are inflammatory conditions and they're immune conditions. This is why when you go to the dermatologist for your eczema, you get an anti-immune or anti-inflammatory drug. That's how they treat it. I say, why don't we figure out what the heck is causing the inflammation? What the heck is causing the immune problem in the first place instead of knocking out the defense department? It never made sense to me. Never made sense to me as a pharmacist to knock out the body's defense department, to knock out the body's immune system, even though in the short term, this may provide some pain relief and symptomatic benefits, and I'm not against those. But for long-term chronic use, it's crazy to suppress the immune system long-term. This is an article from the Dermatologist, September 2016. Eczema is firmly established as an immunologically based disease. And this is an article that talks about how they have firmly established that eczema is an immune problem. It's a defensive problem. So the question then becomes is how do we take care of a defensive response? Well, obviously, you look for the offending agent. The offending agent when it comes to atopical dermatitis, I said contact dermatitis earlier, but eczema is really atopical dermatitis. Contact dermatitis is when you get dermatitis on contact. Atopical means not topical, not contact. Eczema is atopical dermatitis, not contact dermatitis. Let me be clear about that. In any case, if you have atopical dermatitis, that means it's coming from the inside, not the topical. The inside means it's in the blood. How do things get into the blood? Primarily through the digestive system. So for eczema, you want to, number one, look for food allergies and food intolerances, especially in children. Oftentimes milk will be involved. Kids will typically have a constellation of symptoms associated with their eczema, including asthma, or snotty nose, runny nose. Sometimes they'll get ear infections or puffy eyes. All of these are part of the allergic response. So if your kid has eczema or if you have eczema, first and foremost, look for food triggers and then eliminate those food triggers, obviously. Secondly, patch up the gut. Use nutrients like probiotics, good bacteria, fermented foods, glutamine supplements, which can be very helpful for the intestine, lecithin granules, especially if you're eating fatty foods. I'll get to fats here in a moment. Especially you have problems eating fatty foods, digestive enzymes with your meals, vegetable juices, which can be very helpful for digestive health, and staying away from sugar, which can throw off digestive health. Another little known fact about sugar is it can throw off the health of the intestine, and that can cause problems with dermatitis. Fats play an especially important role when it comes to eczema and when it comes to all skin issues. So for eczema, you want to focus on fats and fatty vitamins and helping your body process those fats and fatty vitamins. So for example, vitamin A, vitamin D, supremely important for all skin issues, including eczema. Essential fatty acids, also important, both omega-6 and omega-3. I know some people will say just one, just the omega-3s. Other people will say the omega-6s. But you really need both. There's no omega-3s in the skin, although omega-3s do have anti-inflammatory properties. I should say there's no omega-3s in skin cells. Skin cells have omega-6s. They work with omega-6s. Omega-3s, however, can have a calming effect on the immune system, so they can still have some benefits. Get on a good essential fatty acid supplement if you have eczema that balances out omega-3s and omega-6s correctly. And then you want to make sure you're processing your fats. It's not enough to take fats, you got to process them. That means digestive enzymes with your meals, apple cider vinegar. You can get something called bile salts, B-I-L-E, bile salts. Lecithin granules or lecithin liquid capsules, as I talked about earlier, that can be also helpful for helping the body process fats. And probiotics, interestingly, help the body process fats too. Okay, so if you're dealing with eczema, you don't have to be condemned to it. Correct your digestive system, work on food tolerances and food allergies. And for most people, because the skin turns over so rapidly, for most people, this results pretty darn quickly, usually within a week or two. If you haven't, if you have a flare up, usually within a week or two, they'll dramatically improve. And if you don't have a flare up, you may never get your eczema again. Thanks for listening. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye for now.